any questions on IDP? And for my mentee, if you would like to do it, I can actually have a session with you. Say, let me look at the date. On the 30th of November, you are handing in your assignment. Next week, you are handing in that bonus assignment. 30th is the 10% pay work assignment. Do you have semester break? Do you have semester break? Ladies and gentlemen, do you have semester break? Yes, you have.
Yes, Doctor.
Is it from the 30th to the 6th of December? Yeah. Is it 30th?
Yes,
30th. So you're handing in your assignment on the 30th. Okay. On the 8th, okay. On the 8th of December, I'll be doing a test with you all. Okay. It's an online take-home test, which is going to be 2 hours for 2 questions. So that will be on the 8th of December. Okay. It's going to be like this online, and then you all have to be online, and then you're going to do your test and hand it in. So the IDP with my mentee, whoever wants to join, or whoever wants to join is also okay. I will put up the link for my mentee, and you can share it with your friends if they wish to join. Do you want to do it on the 2nd or the 9th? 2nd is a holiday. It's still a holiday. No, actually, I'm not free on the 2nd. So if you want to meet up for IDP, I can do it on the 3rd. Then I don't have to create a link. You can just use our WebEx link for our project management class to come on, and we can have a quick chat for about half an hour to 1 hour with all the questions that you have on IDP. Okay? So that one is on the 3rd if you want to. For all my mentee, okay, my IDP mentee. Because I have been sent a few emails. I mean, like some people ask me what they are supposed to be doing with me as a mentor. And I told them that actually nothing, basically if you have questions, you can come and talk to me, via WhatsApp or via email, and I'll reply you accordingly. Or I can have if you do have a lot of questions that are very similar with one another, I think we should have a sit down, we should have a session with you all to do a simple consultation over WebEx. Okay. So I think that you guys are not going anywhere, even if you're going anywhere, there's no reason why you cannot go online. Now we can't travel also. I don't think you're going to have holidays. You're going to do like a cuti Malaysia somewhere, right? So do you want to do it on the 3rd or the 9th? 9th is a normal week. I can do it on the 9th as well, or the 3rd of November. My mentor, all my mentee.
both should be okay, Doctor.
Okay. Which one do you prefer?
Not sure with others, but on the 3rd should be okay.
Okay.
Better.
Okay, so the earlier the better. Good. Anyone has any objection to the 3rd of November? Oh, my mentee, I am giving this specifically for my mentee for IDP. I don't know who you are. You know who you are. So just drop by using this WebEx link on Thursday for project management class. And then whoever is interested also, I am very happy for you all to join as well. It doesn't have to be my mentee. So this session is actually going to be a Q&A session. I'm not going to do any talking, only answering questions, okay? So if you don't have any question, you don't come. If you have questions, you come, okay? All right, so just now I explained what is the expectation on IDP already. I suppose to have another session with everybody in preliminary design stage. I'm not sure, I wasn't informed really by Dr. Razak what is the schedule this year for IDP briefing from the project management group. But I'm going to be with you for the next for the next eight weeks. So yeah, so I mean 8, 10 weeks. So there's no reason why we can't talk when we meet up in the online face to face. So it doesn't have to be really a specific IDP sessions with you all, okay? Because everybody should be in this class is going to go for IDP, except for some people who's already done IDP, but you're a repeater for project management. Then too bad lah, you just have to mute yourself and not listen if you want to now. Any questions so far? Any questions on assignments? Dr. Lee's full recording has been posted. My AON example has been posted. That one is an example for you to try out. AOA example also has been posted for you all to try out. And then there's going to, in the same file, at the back of it, there's a short assignment. I call it the bonus assignment. 2%, up to you to do. If you don't want to do, it's fine. You just don't have the 2%. You won't be penalized because that 2% is over and above the normal marks that I'm giving you all. So normal marks is 10% for the pair work, 15% for the test that is on the 8th of December, and then 25% on the assignment that I will give you by end of next week. Then you have about 7 weeks to settle, and then 50% exam, which is going to be an online take home. So out of these 4 things, I have an extra bonus 2% that you can get if you hand in that particular bonus assignment. I do that with all my classes every year because I find that it helps with people to pass my PM. Yeah. 2 marks is a lot actually. 2 marks is raw 2 marks, you know. It's really 2 marks. It's not like assignment 2 marks is actually divided by, you know, it's 10%, 0.1, you know, kind of thing. Or if I give you 2 marks in exams, that is only like 1 mark, you know, overall. This is full 2 marks. No discount, full 2 marks. Okay, feel free to ask any questions if you want to. I'm getting ready to draw up my slides. While you have any questions, just think. If you don't have, it's okay. Okay, got it. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, good. Right. So after we have done our critical path analysis, okay, and you have basically understood that you're gonna have all your ES and EF, okay, all your ES and EF, which is all being listed down nicely, in this sort of tabulated manner. Okay, you can use this, or you can just refer back to the diagram. And the diagram will have all the information on the ES, EF, LS, and LF. Okay, so this is going to be the earliest start, earliest finish, latest start, and latest finish. And this information is something that you would not be able to get at all if you're just using the normal Gantt chart. Okay, so this is one point why we want to do critical path analysis, and the reason is, number one, you can actually able to see the project date in a clearer way, the project start date and end date in a more clearer way, and that is to look at the ES, EF, latest start, latest finish, earliest start, earliest finish. So there is one advantage that critical path method would have over a Gantt chart. Okay, remember that it's very important because sometimes I ask these sort of questions in exam or test, and people just don't know how to answer me. Why you want to do critical path? You see. Right, so this is one of the reasons. And the next reason, of course, is you can actually derive the critical path. It is so important to derive the critical path because it's written also in the notes in week 4 or 5. That is at the back there. I also wrote this down for you all to have a look. Remember to go through the notes carefully because things are, when I give my lecture, my notes is actually there, in the notes, It's just that I have been teaching this for a long time, so I don't really look at the notes anymore. So I don't really, display the notes, you see. But what I'm saying here is the notes are there, and it's important for you to actually have the notes in front of you and also jot down the things that you need to jot down from the class, you see. And I don't take it as in because this is a recorded lecture, and therefore you can always refer back to the lecture later on, because most of you will be pretty lazy and will not do it again to record the lecture. To listen to the pre-recorded lecture. I mean, some of you will, I'm sure, but not all, you see. Yeah. So it's the best to listen and also jot down the notes. So then, to have the information on critical path, can anybody take a guess on why you need information? Why do you need to know your critical path? Why do you need to know which activity is total float 0? Total float 0 is basically LS minus ES or LF minus EF is equivalent to 0. It's a spare time that is allowed for the project to not to go into an overall delay. If the spare time is 0, it means that the total float will be 0, and that means that this particular activity do not have any spare time at all, 0 spare time. If you do end up having a day of delay for that particular activity, you end up delaying the whole project for the whole length of the project by 1 day. So that is the reason why total float 0 is actually activity on the critical path, or most likely on the critical path. If the activities is a lot, there may be some stretch that has total float 0, but they are not on the critical path because the critical path itself has to be joining from the beginning to the end, you see. So if you have 1 or 2 activity that is branching off, but then subsequently there's no 0, then you have to pick the one that has a stretch, a whole stretch. It's like punching. If I put a needle through my ears, it has to come out through the other ears, that kind of concept. So critical path is going in from one ears, coming out from one ears. It's a full through ears. It's not like living inside here somewhere, okay? Right, so these are, so why do you need to know critical path? So you know what is critical path, so it's important to know where is the critical path. And there's a second reason why you should know why you should do your critical path analysis. Anybody wants to give it a try? Why do you want to know critical path? Why do you want to know activities? Which activities are on your critical path? If anybody can answer correctly, I give you 1 mark.
Without knowing the critical path, you know which event, which activity will cannot delay, and then you will affect the whole project in terms of your schedule.
So you're saying that if you know which activity is on the critical path, then if there's a delay on that particular activity, you know that it will delay the whole project. Is that what you're trying to say, Hazam? Who answered the question just now?
Me.
Oh, Richard. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Not so accurate. Not so accurate. You're only halfway there. Okay. Yeah, maybe I can give you 0.5. Okay.
Doctor, can I try?
Yeah. Who's this, John? Okay, go.
Is it because that we can determine which activities, the resources, the one that are not in the critical path, then we can use the resources to allocate for the critical path, the activities in the critical path?
Yes, this is also one way of looking at it. Yeah, but also it's not the full picture, huh? Okay, John, you can get 0.5? Okay.
Doctor, I also have one question for the pair work. Do we have to assume the project selection has it to be a real project in progress, or can we assume the pair work?
I prefer that it's a past project or a real project, which is past or current or future.
Okay.
Because I do hope that to see your project background. There's a section that will be on 1.1.0, which is your project background. So if you're just going to cook up some project without any site or any location or anything that is on it, then it is a bit hard to write that project background. Of course, if you want to cook a story that is very complete, I wouldn't be able to check 60 over assignment whether you're using real project or not. If your story sounds very plausible, then of course I cannot detect because there's too many sites around in town anyway. So if you say that you are, writing about this project, you give a Google map and all that, and actually there's no project there, I honestly wouldn't know. But then if you so happen to let me know, then of course then I'll end up not being too happy with that kind of thing, But yeah, so it's a risk that you have to take, But like I said, I prefer a project that is there already. Maybe it's a project that's already been developed, or on the way to be developed, or is still in the planning stage, or is actually progressing now in construction. It's fine, as long as you can explain your site. That's okay. Your site should have the site plan, the site drawings, even if possible. The site plan drawings, you can actually cut and paste into it, like where you're going to put where are all the houses, where are the roads, where are the drainage, that to show the project authenticity. Yes. Okay, John.
Oh, okay, thank you, Doctor.
I remember Louis actually emailed me last night. I didn't really understand your questions, Louis, but then you're saying that you need to do anything before you see me. I mean, like, if you don't do anything before you see me, what are you going to see me for? Just to see me for the fact not just to see me for the sake of seeing me because you haven't seen me before. Cannot be, right? So usually if you want to see me or ask questions and all that, I'm sure you already have done something, or something has already come out and you're jammed at certain stage, or you're not sure about certain things, and then on the work, then you want to come and see me, I think that is more reasonable, huh? Because your question was, I think, something like, do you need to do anything, or do you need to proceed first before you want to see me? I'm thinking like, it's already week 6, you haven't proceeded with anything, Yeah, Louise, are you here? Louise? Hello, Louise. Do I call you Louis or Louise? Hello, 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 hello. Not here today? Okay, so whoever is Louis' friend, can you pass the message to him? I think he's asking about IDP, whether he needs to do anything before he sees me, or he needs to proceed first before he sees me. I think I wasn't quite sure about the question, but if my interpretation of the question is, of course, you need to do something before you see me, okay? Right. Or you need to ask any questions then that is regarding the assignment that you've already proceeded with IDP, then you need to see me. But I already set just now, for those of you who's coming in late, I've already set the date for IDP discussion for everybody on the 3rd of December using the same link with project management. So I don't have to, this is a break week anyway, so you can just drop by and listen to whatever we are talking about. It's for my IDP mentee, but everybody is welcome. All right, so I think John and Richard actually had some answer, but not so complete, but at least it's a good try. Well, basically for total float, we are looking at, why do we need to know total float? Because total float items are actually, total float zero total float items are actually on the critical path normally, and then it will delay the entire project. So it's actually good to know which are your critical activity based on 2 reasons. Because number 1, should you run into a delay, like what Richard says, should you run into a delay, at least you know that that delay is happening to your critical activity. So it's an awareness that you will need to have. And but what else do you do? If let's say you know that this is your critical activity, and then you there's a delay that occurs already on that particular activity. So your answer wasn't complete, because you need to start to allocate your resources, either to outsource your resources coming in from other places, or from those activities that are in the project that are at the moment handling not so critical activity. You need to take it over and to help to improve the situation. So that's why we need to know whether you need to take that particular action or not. So if let's say a project is not on a critical path and you have a total flow of 3 weeks, for example. So if that particular activity is running into a 3 weeks delay, you may opt to not do anything about it and just let things run as it is. But by putting a bit of more attention to track and all that, Oh, what is this? Annotate. Okay. Right. So then if you can actually right. So if you can actually know it, then it's actually it's where you're going to focus your resources in the event of delay. Okay. But there are also circumstances, okay, which John was talking about, that you are playing with your resources. So if let's say you need to fasten a particular activity, or you have a project elsewhere that already finished construction earlier, and then there's some resources that you can use from that side, and you can actually shift those resources over to your project. But where are you going to put those resources? So these are the decision making that you need to make. So if the activities is actually on a critical path and you decided to actually put more resources on that particular activity, naturally it will actually crash the project, meaning that this is the length of the project, but you crash it. Okay, so there are also events that you have 18 months for the project, but on the 16th month or on the 15th month, you receive news that there will be a new project coming out on the 17th month. Okay, that you need to transport your people and your items over to the other project on the 18th, on the 17th month, for example. So this is the part that we will do activity crashing because we want to finish it early. And there's many reasons for activity crashing. It can be a new project is coming. Okay, it can be you have an old project finishing and there's a lot of resources being freed up that you can use for this particular project. So you want to crash it. And there is also reasons such as the client's request. The client has a very specific request because I want to get married, my babies is coming, or I need certain part of the renovation to be done earlier, or these are very small examples, but the bigger example is I need my there's about 100 houses. I need 20 of them to be ready way before time. I will take over the project that 20 houses earlier because we have a special request, for example. So these are the things that the client can demand, or it can be a building that is like 20 floors. And then the client requested that I want my first 10 floors to be ready because I need to move my office in there earlier. So there is always very funny request that comes in middle of the project, and then that requires you to do activity crashing. So the second reason that you want to know your critical path is in the event that you need to do activity crashing, you need to know which activity to crash. You need to know where to put your resources correctly onto those critical path or total float zero activity so that the crashing is a lot more meaningful. Imagine you put your resources at the wrong activity, and then even if you crash those activity, that activity finish early, it doesn't make a difference. How sad can that be? Correct or not? Okay, so these are two most important reasons. Number one, in the event of delay, you need to know where to concentrate your resources. You need to be aware the alarm needs to go off. That is one reason that you need to know TF0 or critical path. And the second reason is basically if you need to do activity crashing, these are the reason why all the resources needs to be concentrated on the certain activities. They need to pick the right activity to crash, and those activities are those that is on the critical path. So if critical path is TF0, if you can crash, meaning that if you can minus 1 week or 1 month, then your total project will be minus by 1 week or 1 month. Not necessarily true all the time, because once you minus 1 month, then you are also affecting some of the other activities that are not on the critical path initially. So at the end of the day, you still have to really look at the overall, okay? So you still need to get you still need to really reanalyze anything that you are crashing or anything that you are lengthening. You really need to re-look at the entire CPM over and over again before you can actually make a decision. That is but it's a quick catch lah. Does not mean that the decision is made right away, you see, but there is a potential for it. Let me try to show you how to look at activities. Not in these notes, I think there is a diagram that I have to show you that if you need to change, you need to update your CPM. Okay, maybe it's not here, but because it's very slow, I'm trying to As mine is very slow, so it's hard to upload. This notes is a supplementary notes which I Google SharePoint with Atu, and then I've also emailed her. So you can take a look. Okay, never mind. There's a way of updating your there's a way of updating, like updating Gantt chart is actually tracking Gantt. Okay, updating CPM is actually looking at the overall CPM, which items are already done, then you cross it out, and then which items are delayed, then you have to relook at the duration again, and then you need to run the whole CPM from beginning to the end all over again. So that is how we update our critical path analysis, and we need to update it. You know, if you crash activity, also you need to update it and do a recalculation. The steps are all the same. Then after that, you can make a decision whether other activities are being affected or the critical path may have changed, you know, because of certain level of crashing or certain level of delay. Okay, so do we understand so far? Right. So now let's say you understand what total float means and what it's being used for. Let's talk about free float. Okay, so free float analysis, I've already gone through it with you. Basically, you will need to take it cannot directly come from the diagram, okay, but it can actually be checked using it has to be checked using your CPM diagram, your network diagram. So if I'm looking at the free float at this particular area, okay, at this particular activity, I need to look at the succeeding activity. Succeeding activities, ES. Okay, if I have two succeeding activities, that means there are two ES. And the two ES individually need to be deducted from the EF of the one that you are looking at. If this is I, okay, this is I plus 1. So for free float of I, it will be the ES of I plus 1 minus of the EF of I, okay? And then you bracket it minimum, because if you have two EF, two subsequent activities, you're going to have two EF. And when you have two EF, after you have minus, you need to pick the minimum. So if this is 5, if this is 7 minus 6, and this is 6 minus 6, you're going to use 0 still, because it has to be 6 minus 6 that is going to be holding priority compared to 7 minus 6. Okay, so overall, you need to pick the minimum, and then free float 0 means that it will not affect the next activity. Okay, if free float is 0, means that this activity cannot be delayed without delaying the next activity. So if the free float is 1, or like this, the free float is 4, okay? This is 15 minus 11, 4. That means this foundation work can be delayed for 4 days or 4 weeks, depending on what these numbers means. 4 days before installation will be delayed. So let's say foundation work was raining today, no work can be done, it's delayed 1 day, it's still okay. It will not delay installation. So that the work still can proceed. You only delay for 1 day, but you have an extra 3 days to work on. And if let's say it's delayed for another day, it's still okay. It's delayed for another day, it's still okay. On the 4th day, if it's still delayed, there is an alert already, meaning that if tomorrow, if you delay on the 5th day, this activity will be affected already. And then this CPM will need to be readjusted again. Okay, so that is the reason why we need to know free float. This is how we look at free float and how we use free float. But the reason that we need to know free float is for the following. Okay. Right. So after you have done your after you have done your free float analysis and your total float analysis, now is a good time that we are looking into what we call the histogram for resources histogram, okay? So meaning that after you have finished your analysis, the information are there, it's time to go back to your resources. And then when you see your resources, and this has to be done usually with labor and machineries, but mainly with labor, okay? And also three things: labor, machineries, and also money, but mainly with money and also with also labor. Why? Okay, because machineries, the difference isn't big, you know, like one lorry to two lorries to three lorries. Usually you only have very limited amount of machinery on site, okay, unless it's a very huge project with very big amount of resources, then it becomes really important. But labor, because the count is a bit big, you know, a lot of time, so we should look at labor as well. We really need to look at labor in terms of resources. So what happened is, in any project, you really do not want to actually sack people, bring in people, and sack people this month, right? Because at the beginning of the project, remember I talked to you about the intensity of the project. At the beginning of the project, usually there's not much of things that's going on, and maybe you need about 10 person working on site. And second month, you need about 20 person. Third month, you need about 30 person. As the project peak, you probably need about 50 people working on site, say lah. But there are some times that, you know, you realize that you don't need so much of people on site. Are you going to sack those people and say, ask them to go home? And then the following month when you need them, you know, you request them to come back again. So this is very bad human resources management on site, you see. So we really want to keep a specific amount of people or labor, whether it's skilled or unskilled, or whether it's a management team. We want to keep a fixed amount of people on site, you see. So that you don't get that fear of being out of job. And then when you have that fear of being out of job, normally what we will do is they will actually go and look for other jobs first before they will sack you first before you sack them, you see. So it's actually not so good for the site management. So what we want is to keep a certain level of people on site. So what we do is, after you've already know your you already know, because in the beginning you've done your resources list, am I right? I mean, you've done your activity, your work breakdown, and then let's say this is flooring. Flooring is one. This is, let's say, the layer 3, okay. And then these are the duration that you've already designed for the job, and these are the labor that will be doing this particular job, okay. So you actually can do this for the entire project, to list down all the labor requirements for each particular activity over a certain duration of time. Then what you do is you will create, you do your CPM, okay? You do your CPM, and then we will do our resources histogram, okay? It's a bit hard because normally I'll show this in class, I'll draw it out in class, so I can't draw it out in class now. What happened is, if you take, okay, it use a bit of imagination. Okay, yep. So say here, this is actually your activities and the information. So then what you need to do is you have to go back to your Gantt chart, and then you need to write, you need to put it like this, okay? So activity A, it will start from day 1 for 5 days, okay? Activity B will start from day 1 parallel on day up to day 7, and then C 3 days, D 5 days, and E 2 days. Okay, so this is what was being projected here. Okay, 57353. Okay, so you draw back your Gantt chart. So you go back to your Gantt chart. So what happened is, after you have done your CPM, okay, you go back to your Gantt chart and you look at the Gantt chart. Okay, And then you look, these are the Gantt chart that is there already, I assume, okay? After your network that has been completed, the Gantt chart is already there. So what you happen now is you actually load your resources. We call it resources loading. So if, say, activity A has 2 persons working daily for the next 5 days, the answer here is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, okay? And then if you look at the resources list, for B activity is 4 persons. So what you do is you will put 4 here, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, okay? And this is 3 persons working, so you put 3, 3, 3. So what you do now with the resources is you add up in this direction. So for day 1, total you need 6 persons, day 2, 6 persons, day 3, 6 persons, and then 4 and 3 is 7, 4 and 3 is 7, and then 3, 3, 6, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then 2, 2. Okay, so it's up to this far. Do you understand what is resources loading? So you go back to your Gantt chart, okay, the Gantt chart that you have, and then what you can do is you load up the resources, meaning that label, you will put the label, you don't spread it out. The person cannot be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 like that. It has to be, if it's 2, then it's 2 daily kind of thing. If it's 5, it's 5 daily. Okay, then you load it up, and then you actually come down in the horizontal, in a vertical manner, and then you will create what you call a resources histogram. So if you take all these numbers here, okay, all these numbers here, and it becomes your y-axis, and then your x-axis will be your days, okay? So this is your x and this is your y-axis. Then you will see that you will have a histogram. You know how to produce that? You know, so you take your y-axis, this is your x-axis, day 1 to day 14, okay? And then day 1, your bar will go up to 6, day 2, 6, day 3, 6, day 4, 6, and etc., 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 etc. Okay? Right. So once you have this resources histogram, what do you do with it? So it shows you the profile of your resources. So if you want to keep a fixed amount of people on site, okay? So if let's say based on this particular resources histogram that I have, and there's 2 ways of playing with the resources. Number 1 is you will level it off, meaning that you keep a fixed number of resources on site. So in this case, are you going to keep a 5 or a 6? Because the maximum is 7, minimum is 2. Are you going to keep a 2 or 7 or 5 throughout the project? So normally we will do what we call leveling. It's like you have your hair standing up, you know, in different direction, and then you take a razor and then you razor it off, you know, or you look at grass in your garden. There's some longer, there's some shorter, but you want them to be on the same level. So you take your lawnmower and you go boom, you know, and then everything becomes serata, okay? So this is what we do with resources leveling. So with resources leveling, you pick a number, and that number, I cannot teach you which number to pick because it's your comfortable level. Some people, they are very daring. They will pick something like 4, you see. And then, but of course, it's within certain reason now, because you have to understand, if you actually look at the resources histogram, there are some that is 6, there's some that are 7, there's some that are 3, and there's some that are 2. So as long as after you razor it off, some of the top bits can actually be fulfilled by the lower end. You know, the one that is below the bar is enough to be fulfilled by the one that is below the bar, then those numbers are generally okay to be leveled in that way. Or the other way is, if you look at the where you razor it off, and those that are sticking out their head, okay, the subsequent activity, do you have a free float? If there is a free float for the subsequent activity, then you can do that, okay? So that's where you pick your numbers. So in this case, I may just pick a 5, okay? But it depends. You know, if I pick a 5, means that all this here, all these first 5 days, all this activity, do I have any activities that has free float the following, okay? And it looks like I do actually, because I have a free float for activity A that is 2 apparently, and I may be able to get away with it, but it depends, you know. But if you raise it off the second, the 6 days and 7 days, you are also raising off 2 person, you see, up to here. So then, do you have any subsequent activities that is actually having free float? And apparently here you do have some more free float, but it can be a bit risky. 5 to me would be a bit risky already. So even though there's 2 layers of free float that you can play with, but if you raise it at 5, at the end of the day, the period is too long. It may be too long to be built over, to be sustained, you know, without delaying the entire project. So free float, this is the part that we're looking at free float. And when we are playing with resources leveling and choices of resources leveling, you need to look at your free float and where your free float are and the amount of free float that you have. Okay, so are we clear on this? I know some of you are probably blur, suddenly blur already, like suddenly hit by meteorites, huh? Okay, so this technique of resources leveling will force you to keep one fixed amount. So say if I want to keep 6 person on site, then that means every activity I've got 6 people. This activity here, I have no problem. I will not have any delay. Here, I may have some delay, but I will catch up later on because I still have 6 people here. You doing 3 people work and 2 people work, you see? And then I do have free float here and free float here to actually push my activity with. So I may go for 6. I am being very conservative here. I will go for 6. But if I'm being very, very risky and daring, I will go for 4 and 5. And then do the analysis to see whether you can get away with it. But getting away with it is always a borderline. You may get caught and you may not like it, you see. So again, it's a risk-taking effect of the project manager themselves when it comes to project planning with resources, right? And then leveling is one level. You only keep one level, okay? So there's another way is shown in this particular example that I'm looking at the moment is actually doing a resources curve, okay? So meaning that you will slowly build up your resources and then keep it at a flat level for as long as you can, and then slowly sack people as you go along. So people will go slowly, and you don't need to bring them back. So these are the slow, gradual curve that we're going to have. And in this case, what we do is, you can see there's some float here, and there's some float here. So if I were to delay my activity A for a few days by shifting this over to here, that means in the beginning, I'm only engaging about 5 people. Then after that, I will build up to 6 people. And then if there is some more free flow, I shift again into the free flow. So all my histogram will change, you see. So let me show you what it looks like at the end of the day. So it will look like this. So if we do a few shifting, by shifting, you can just play with your shift, okay? You don't have to do a full shift. You don't have to use the shift. But if you try to shift with all your, this is like a full Gantt chart, then you're shifting your time bar, okay, based on the free float that we have. Then once you shift it to the level that you're happy with, then you can do your adding up, and this is how it will look like. And this is not bad because in the beginning, you only keep about 6 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then after that, you build up to higher, slowly come down. Okay, wait, this is not right. Wait. Okay, this is what is being proposed by this example. But if I were to do the shifting, I may just shift way over and then end up with a 5, okay? here, and then I will go by 5, 5, and then 7, 7, 7, 7 for a while, and then come down to about 5 again, and then slowly 3, 2, 1. Okay. Sorry, the example. Yeah, this is what we have here. There's nothing at the back. Okay? So yeah, so this is what is being proposed by this particular example. So I will probably do a different shifting. So it's very subjective. There's nothing right or wrong as long as you do not delay the entire project by shifting too much. Okay. So this is what we call resources curve, a gradual increase to a gradual decrease, okay, of resources. So we do that for our labor and machinery, same techniques, okay. But for money-wise, say if I look at this diagram, and then I know, okay, for after my costing calculation, I will be able to have here, instead of labor, I will put here in terms of sum of money. Okay, so if let's say purchase and delivery of vinyl is 10K, remove of old vinyl is 5K, and then this is install new vinyl is 5K, install vinyl is 4K, clean up inspection is 2K, for example. So let's say if we have all these money aspects here, the resources loading is a bit different. So what you do is with A is 5 days, you need to take your 10K and divide it over. It cannot be 10K every day. It's 10K for 5 days. So meaning that you can go for 2K, 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 or you can go for 5K, 5K at the back, but 0, 0 in front. Okay. So it depends on you and the supplier, how you're going to do the payment and all that. And also whether it's you purchase it first, pay later. There's a lot of reason why you divide it accordingly. So labor, if let's say labor, we have to put in the older one that is the same. So let's say if it's a work that is ongoing, so you may want to, you'll be paying people and doing the work at the same time, then you may want to distribute it equally, meaning that if my vinyl is actually 5K, so I can have like what, this 7 days, 5K, so you can have it equal. It's about how much, 800 plus or 900 plus per day kind of thing, you see? So then you can put 900, 900, 900, 900. So do you understand? So after you've add it up accordingly in this direction, and then you do a cumulative curve. This is what we call S-curve actually. Okay, so this is your planning S-curve. So this one I will explain S-curve a bit more when it comes to your cost management, the reason why you need to know S-curve and all that. But since we are here, I'm just telling you that there is this particular way of looking at it. And I do actually have another set of notes that really have this example very clearly, like how to list down, how to do the calculation in a PowerPoint. But unfortunately, the files are not with me. Because we're not returned back to the office fully at the moment. I will get it, I'll grab hold of that as soon as possible, and I will forward it to the e-learning group, and then you can take a look, okay? Right, so this is what we call resources loading. And then after you have loaded up your resources, you can choose to do resources leveling so that you can keep a fixed amount of resources on site. Or you can do a resources gradual curve, okay? And then this is a technique of engaging lower amount of people, but slowly building it up towards the middle, keep a fixed amount as long as possible, and then coming down slowly towards the end of the project. So we can do a resources curve kind of technique to manage your human resources on site. And then on money-wise, you need to do the distribution according to the final amount, and it has to be either divided or it can be even like 1K, 1K, and then nothing, and then 1K, 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 1K. If this is 5K, we can have 1K, 2K, 2K, or we can have 2K, 2K, 1K. So this is a combination that you need to plan out accordingly. It's the amount of money that is being fixed already for that particular activity, but the time that you're using that money, it can vary accordingly. It can be equally distributed or it can be distributed ununiformly, okay? It can be uniform, it can be ununiform, depending on the usage for the project. All right, so this is how we produce our S-curve. So what you do is you take your cumulative, coming down. You take your coming down, the total, and then you do a cumulative, meaning that if this is money, it will be like this month is 6K, then 6K, next month is 6 plus 6K, 12K. So your curve is based on the cumulative amount. So 12K plus 6K is 18K. 18K plus 6K is 24K. So your curve will be a curve that goes up like, in the S kind of manner. So this is what we call an S curve, which I will explain why you need to know S curve in another session next week, okay? So, and then the final reason that we also play with total float is because you may have what we call multiple project planning. So meaning that if let's say I already level it off and I know that I still have some free float, what happens is I will actually, in the event that I actually need to shift some of my workers over to another project or some of my machinery to work to another project, I need to be sure that my entire project will not be affected, that I cannot shift those items that is already, that is a resources on critical path, you see. So I will shift it, those that are not on critical path, but have free float of 0. Free float of some numbers. And if I have some free float of some numbers, then I can actually shift my resources over. The amount will be depending on the free float number. So if that means I will purposely delay that particular activity so that I can take away the resources, but it will not affect the overall project, and it should not affect the next project because I know the exact amount that is required to affect the subsequent activity. So you play within that free flow. And then once you play within that free flow, you can shift the amount of resources away to another project, okay? So these are some of the reasons why we need to do CPM, okay? So number one, resources leveling. Number one is the ES, EF, LS, LF. Number two is the total float, which is coming with resources to do activity crashing or pick up on delays. Number three is no free float. And the reason for free float is you want to do resources leveling or resources curve. And then also you want to do the third thing, multiple project planning. So these are the few reasons why you want to know critical path method. And these are the technique that is being shared to you to actually play around and manipulate your resources accordingly. Manipulate it within a very confident manner, manipulate it in a very smart way, not butak manipulate, you know. All right, so I will also show you that in this practice class the other day. Here, you see, I also have something like this. This is another example of resources, okay? What I was trying to explain to you all just now. So you see, you go back to your original Gantt chart, and then you check out these are the blue solid line is your critical path, and then this dotted line is your free float, the activity that has free float. So meaning that riser May will have free float, okay? So you're playing with this free float. And then after that, this is the labor requirement. So 1, 4. So you do your resources. You can see that what I was trying to show you just now as well. Same thing. So you just have to add up the numbers, and then from these numbers here with the X and Y axis, you do your resources histogram, and then you do your cutting off. So this is another example that you can try out. So these are all your resources requirement. This is all your resources requirement, and then this is all your timeline. you know, and then from your timeline, you already know where your free floats are. So what you do is you load it up first, and then you add it down vertically. No cumulative here, just add it down properly and do your resources histogram. And from your resources histogram, you do your leveling, okay? Or the other way is do your curve nicely, okay? So redo your curve, shift some of this activity, delay it purposely so that your resources will be concentrating in the middle, and then it will slowly, gradually build up and slowly come down. So this is 4 and 5. This is not good already because you have a 4, and then then what you're going to do with this 0, 0, you set people, you see? You cannot set people here and tell everybody to go home and then pick up another 5 guys again later on, you see? So this is the reason why we need to do leveling or the gradual resources curve. And this is the money. So money bit is 15K. You split over 3. This is 15K. You may split 5 and 10. This is 35K for 7. You may split 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Or it can all go back at the back day of 35 also can. So commissioning is 20, is 20 here. And installation is 10, so it's 10K here. So with this 1 month, there's no choice. With this one is 2 months, you can have 5, 5, or you can have 2, 8 also possible, okay? And then here, your income, you add it up. This is your first level income. And then this is your the cash flow. So what you do is you take your cash flow and then you do this, add up with this, becomes 35, add up with 20, becomes 55, 55 add up with 25, becomes, no wait, 25 add up with 5, 7, where is it now? Okay. Right, 25, 20, 20. Yeah, add up with 7, sorry, 62, 14, 4, negative 48, etc., etc. So you move on accordingly. Okay, so then you do your curve. This is you are mapping your X, Y, your Y will be your cumulative, okay? It's a cumulative amount. Your X will be your timeline. So that is where your S curve will form, okay? So I think with this, there's another clear example here, okay? So, and this is your bonus assignment that we have here. Right, so for project control, so after you've done all this sort of planning, okay, all this sort of planning, you need to look into project control, okay? So project control, usually we would need to know the current status. What you plan is your baseline and then your current status. So progress report is one technique of doing it. We will explain this again a lot more detail in overall progress report and also site daily record in sometime in week 9 or week 8 or week 9, okay? 9 should be week 9 in site management. So then monitoring time performance, these are what we call the baseline, and the bottom bit will be your tracking gun. I think Dr. Lee also tried to tell you what is tracking gun. So if there's any project delay, then you need to punch it in accordingly. So every month, tracking is always month by month. So first month, second month, the report will come in at the interval of every month. So meaning that by certain month, you need to actually already track all the activity up to that month. And so those that is not tracked yet means that it's not done yet because you're not up there yet, okay? So tracking Gantt, we need to know what are the remaining. Would there be a problem, okay? This is actually a very deep knowledge because this deals with delay. So if you're tracking Gantt, for example, this is supposed to be baseline. This is supposed to be the baseline for activity C, but you're already taking up to 4th month and it's still not completed yet, say 80%, meaning that this project already on this particular day, today, or that particular end of that month, your project is actually running into a delay already. And then it will be further delayed. So this delay is the one that you need to really be aware of, because if there's a specific reason for delay, first physically, practically, you need to catch up, okay? And you need to do all your resources planning and all that, or your resources, bringing resources, do activity crashing and all sorts of things. And you may need to crash some of the back activities as well to catch up. So these are some of the practical things that you will need to do. But contractually, these days will be considered as delay, and you need to inform your client about that particular delay. And then that will be in order for you to apply for extension of time. And if they do not grant you the extension of time because the reason is not reasonable, then it will be not granted, and then you will be paying a certain amount of penalty from there. So there's many reasons why extension of time is granted and not granted. One of them is you have to prove it that there is already a delay. You need to inform that there's a delay, and then you need to look back whether this activities is on your critical path or not. If this activity is not on your critical path, there are certain and then you have some flow, and that delay has not flowed into that particular, not finished up using the flow, then that extension of time may not be granted. Okay, and you have to understand whether it's a critical or non-critical activity. And this activity, also the reason for delay, whether it's a compensable delay or it's a non-compensable delay. Compensable delay means that the fault may be the client, it may be the design, not so much of the contractor. Then it's a compensable delay. So all these are delays knowledge, delays analysis. Delays analysis can take a whole course on delay analysis. Okay, so I'll just briefly mention that here, and we'll talk about it a lot more when it comes to contract management later on. Okay, how do you judge whether it's a critical or non-critical delay? Whether it's a compensable or non-compensable delay? Whether it's excusable or non-excusable delay? Okay. It can be excusable and non-excusable is basically whether it's your fault or your client's fault. Compensable means that are you going to be given extra time? That is compensable. Some is excusable, but they are still not given extra time, so it's considered as a non-compensable delays. Okay, but normally excusable and compensable are together. Normally, okay. All right, so this is where I have for today, and then there is another slide here on control chart. This is another way of looking at the in and out. So take a read through these notes here to know this tracking gun and control chart. These two techniques will be used for project control. Okay. S-curve also. We call it EV technique. Later on. Too much already for today. Okay. Digest 5 minutes later. Q&A. Okay, I'll do the QR now. Okay. Let me stop sharing. As I've mentioned before, today's class and last Thursday class, these 2 3 weeks is going to be tough for everybody. Actually, these are knowledge that are not so easily being grasped in the sense, So it is very fair for you to be a bit confused, and I'm very willing to actually help you to resolve any problem if you have. But the main thing is you must try to resolve it, okay? And understand what is leveling, what is resources loading, what is leveling, what is S curve. All this you must be very, 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 very clear, okay? And not leave it until the end. Then you will be totally lost, I can guarantee you. What we have today will be built up into contract classes later, and it will also be built up into site management classes, and it will be also built up into cost, especially S-curve, EV, and all that. Okay, group one, go.
Doctor, you're not sharing your screen.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. Right, smart, yeah. Not sharing the screen. If you want to do manual attendance, don't check me, because I cannot read like that, okay? So make sure that you all say it out loud to me later on when I ask you, okay? Group 2. Okay. Group 3. Okay, and NRR people. NRR. Okay, one more time. Civil 1, anyone else that is missing? Anyone else in Civil 1 that needs manual attendance? No? Okay. Civil 2?
Me, doctor.
Okay,
Me, doctor.
Civil, oh, sorry, this is NRR, Civil 2. Wait, yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, Civil 2, anybody who is QR attendance here, come on.
Me, doctor.
I know. I'm waiting for people who are still not punching in yet. Wait,
60.
wait. Silver 2, yep, go ahead. List of absent, list of your list of people who cannot do QR.
okay, 61045.
61.
045. Thank you, Doctor.
Who else? Group 2?
60992. Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Group 2, anyone else?
Me, Doctor.
60284.
Okay.
63184. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Anyone?
60284, Doctor.
Which one? You're
Thank you,
in group 2,
Doctor.
eh? No. 60 what?
Yeah, 60284.
I'm talking about group 2. Are you done yet? I thought I already keyed in for you already. Group 2, are we all done yet? Okay, group 3. This is Silver 2, Silver 3. Silver 3, and anyone else missing the QR code? Anyone else need manual attendance for Silver 3?
Yes,
No?
I need manual attendance.
Theodore.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Doctor,
Yes?
group 2, please.
Just now I asked who else, you don't answer me one.
Sorry, I was outside. I was in the toilet.
Okay. Done, huh? No more
Doctor?
attend. What?
Group 3, Doctor.
Huh?
Group 3.
Australia is it?
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, so all set, huh? Okay, done. No more. Okay, right. I'll stop sharing screen. Okay, it's all done. And some questions here. No need 100% correct. You have to do it. That's all. Okay. For traveling, you're asking me just now whether 2 marks extra is for submission. How about the Microsoft project mentioned by Dr. Lee? That one, we have to follow up on that, but it's supposed to be able to be installed for. We need to see how to get the program and then pass it to you all. So if for the meantime, if your own computer has Microsoft project, I think you can just proceed with that. It's the same thing actually. Some software actually comes with some Microsoft project software actually comes with some Microsoft software actually comes with Microsoft project. So please do check first before you can try to check your own one first. But the legal software that we have in Unimas do have Microsoft project. I need to follow up with Dr. Lee on this, whether the person is already back in the office and how do we get it across to you guys, okay? John, just now I answer you already. Okay, and can I have many attendants? I'll answer you already. Can I do remember? Okay, done. Okay, so right. So everybody is there's no more question on the chat box. Yes, you can, yes. So, traveling, you can use you can use your IDP assignment. No objection. Okay, right.
Doctor,
Yes.
I want to ask about the assignment. What if my project I got is on overseas?
Why?
I asked a project management company, but then they said their projects are all in Australia.
But their construction management is very different from ours, So you can try if you want to. But then most of their building works and all that, they'll be using things like IBS construction. So if you're happy with that, then I'm okay with that as well.
Okay. I'll see how then.
But the requirement is you must have 12 to 15 major activities.
Okay, doctor. Thank you, doctor.
You can do overseas project as long as it's not something that you copy from the internet. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Any other questions on assignments?